and this is my friend Mary, and we are cooking with Christ. We are a ministry of South Congregational Church in Hartford, Connecticut. We get together once a week or so, and we make good things in this kitchen at our church. We cook for the fire department down the street. We cook for our coffee hour on Sunday mornings. We provide refreshments for our meetings and different ministries of the church. As a matter of fact, the cookies that we're going to make today are going to go for our men's meeting, the Spurgeon Society, tonight. So let's get started. Today we are going to make a chocolate chip cookie recipe. And this is a recipe that is Alton Brown's recipe. He did a show on his Good Eats that was to find the best chocolate chip cookie recipe. And this is a delicious, chewy chocolate chip cookie that, you will just die for. I will make nothing else but this for my chocolate chip cookies now. It is a little bit chewy. It's really rich because it's loaded with butter and goodness. So let's get started. Bowl, a whisk, a spoon, and then for our ingredients we need eggs, 2 eggs, 1 whole egg, and 1 egg yolk. We need a little bit of milk, a cup of brown sugar, some baking soda, some salt, of course chocolate chips, or you can actually have any kind of chips that you want. Butterscotch chips, peanut butter chips. What's your favorite kind of cookie mix-in? Do you like chocolate chips the best?
I do.
Think? Yeah, me too.
Maybe peppermint at
Christmas.
Christmas.
That would be really good. We need to add a little green food coloring to the cookie dough too. That would be really cool. We need vanilla. This is actually Haitian vanilla. You can use regular vanilla too. White sugar and bread flour. Bread flour is one of the key ingredients in this cookie because with bread flour there's extra gluten, and that makes your cookie a little chewier. You can use regular all-purpose flour if you want, if that's what you have, but we like to use bread flour. Okay, should we get started? Oh, and I almost forgot, butter.
Yum.
All right, Mary, you're going to help me out with this here. Okay, so to start with, we are actually going to put in 1 cup of melted butter right into our mixing bowl. When we do baking with cookies, it's best to use real butter. Don't substitute margarine or any of that kind of stuff with it because the real butter is going to help you make the cookie richer. It's going to make sure it browns up nicely. It's just a really, really good, sorry about that, a good addition to, let's clean the butter out of that. We want to get every last bit of butter. Yeah, so use real butter. Okay, to that we are going to add 1 full cup of packed brown sugar. You can either use light brown sugar or dark brown sugar, it doesn't really matter. Start to mix that in. And then we're going to add a 1/2 cup of white sugar. Now this recipe has more brown sugar than it does white sugar because we want this cookie chewy. And the moisture in the cookie, the moisture in the brown sugar is going to help with that a little bit. All right, so while she's mixing that up, we're going to talk about the eggs. That's the next thing. So we are going to use 1 whole egg to start with.
Can it be room temperature or?
Nope, they can come right out of the refrigerator. Okay. Good question, because some recipes do ask for room temperature eggs. If it doesn't specify in the recipe, just go ahead and take them right out of the fridge. We're going to use 1 whole egg. Now, a little tip, when you're putting eggs into your batters, always crack them into a separate bowl. Because if you have a little eggshell or whatever, you don't want to be fishing it out of your batter, or if you have a bad egg. So we're going to crack this, and we're going to go ahead, there's no shell, so we're going to go ahead and dump that in. If you want to switch to the whisk, you can. That might make it a little easier. And the other egg that what we're going to do is we're going to crack it, but we are only going to use the yolk. We don't want the white on this. The egg white, if you use the whole of the egg white tends to dry the cookie out a little bit, and we really don't want a dry cookie. We want a nice chewy cookie. And we're going to add the second egg to that. Now, because we used only the yolk of the egg, this recipe is a little short of moisture. So what we're going to do is we're going to add, to take place of the yolk that the white that we didn't use, we're gonna add a tablespoon of just regular plain old milk. I'm just gonna mix that right in. All right. And now you have an egg white left over, and if you wanna make some meringue for something else, there you go. All right, so let's move this out of the way. All right. Now to this, we are going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And like I said, this is vanilla from Haiti. We have a ministry here at our church that we have a school and a church that we sponsor in Comparan, Haiti. And when we go down, we have a wonderful lady who we get our vanilla from. And it is very, very strong and delicious. And I made a big mess. You can smell it. Smell good?
Yeah.
And vanilla is a flavoring, but also, I don't know if you know this, but vanilla is actually a flavor enhancer. So the brown sugar that we put in and all that, it's going to make it taste more.
I didn't know
So,
that.
yeah. Stick with me, kid, you'll learn a lot. All right, so that's our wet ingredients. So now we're going to switch to the dry ingredients. And unless the recipe tells you to dump it all in one bowl, you want to mix your dry ingredients in a separate bowl. And when you do that, it's going to help because we're going to be adding some other ingredients, and then you can mix it all together and make sure that your other ingredients get fully incorporated. So we are going to do 2 1/4 cups of this bread flour.
Can you get the bread flour at a regular grocery
Yep,
store?
yep, it's at the same place as the flour and stuff at the grocery store, and it's just another. You have bread flour, you have whole wheat flour, you have the kind of non-bleached flour, all-purpose flour. I probably shouldn't be doing that over the bowl, because if I go crazy, then we're going to have a big mess. We won't have too much. And it's always a good idea. This is in a jar, so you wouldn't be able to scoop it, but it's always a good idea when you are measuring out your flour that you don't dip your cup into the flour container. Fluff it up a little bit, and then spoon the flour in, because if you scoop, it's going to pack it a little bit, and that way you won't get your whole measurement. So let's do this here. So 2 1/4 cups. And you want to make sure it's level, because you don't want to get too much or too little. All right. So there's your 2 1/4 cups of flour. We're going to add a teaspoon of baking soda to that.
What does the baking soda do?
The baking soda is actually a leavening agent, so it's going to give it a little bit of air in it and help the cookies rise up a little bit. And then a teaspoon of salt, and that is another flavor enhancer. And you'll really notice if you don't put the salt in the recipe, you'll really notice, because one time I forgot the salt and it did not taste really nice. All right, so now we're going to add that to your wet mixture. All right, get rid of this. Cap that. It's always a good idea too to always cap all your ingredients when you're done with them. That way you don't have a little bit of a mess. And she's mixing that up nicely with a spoon. Now, your typical recipe for chocolate chip cookies is the one that everybody sees on the back of the Toll House cookie chips. That is a recipe that you can put together and you can make it right away because you're using soft butter. We used melted butter. So this is going to need to be chilled a little bit before we use it. While you're mixing that up, I'm going to add to that 2 cups of chocolate chips. Now you can do this in an electric mixer if you want. We are cooking here at the church, and our electric mixer is gigantic. You can put a whole person in the bowl. And this recipe here isn't that big. It's over on the other side of the room. All right, and see how that batter is a little bit thinner? It's not really a good cookie batter right now.
Can you lick the spoon?
You cannot lick the spoon. Good question. I am an egg Nazi. I will tell you, nobody licks the spoons in my kitchen. We put raw eggs in this, and there's flour in here. And there has been shown that you can get salmonella poisoning from your raw eggs. It's something that the chickens have, and you never know when you're going to get salmonella. And also, they found that flour actually can have traces of E. coli. So you want to make sure that you cook it well and not eat it. So I just want to show everybody here our batter. Now this is a little thinner right now. If we tried to cook this right now, we would have pancakes and not chocolate chip cookies. So what I'm going to do is we're going to clean the spoon off because we want every bit of goodness in our cookies. All right, and we're actually going to throw this in the refrigerator for 3 or 4 hours so that it can get good and firm. All right, put those in there. So I'm going to cover this, and I'm going to put this. Actually, Mary, would you do that for me? Just throw that right in the refrigerator so it can chill. All right. And you can see the difference here now. See how this is, it's much firmer and it's a good cookie dough. So when you make the cookies, it's going to stay put.
Do you have to spray this?
We do not. This is, invest in parchment paper. This way you can use your cookie sheets over and over again while you're finishing your cookies, and it is non-stick. So it's easy cleanup. There's nothing to scrape off or anything, so this is good. Cookie scoop. This is a 2-ounce scoop. And this makes it so that all your cookies are the same size. If you're just using a regular spoon, some of your cookies might be larger than others, and those cookies won't be done at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to scoop and drag it up the side of the bowl, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to do 3 by 5 on this cookie sheet. These cookies are going to spread a little bit, even though the dough is cold. They are going to spread a little bit, so you don't want to put them too close together. That way you don't have cookies that are jammed together. So we're going to bake this in a 375 oven for about 9-10 minutes. Okay. Now, when you take the cookies out of the oven, they will continue to cook for a couple minutes on the cookie sheet because the cookie sheet is hot. So don't take the cookies out when they're done. Take the cookies out when they're almost done. Okay, Mary? If you go ahead and put that in the oven and set the timer for 9 minutes. And these cookies, these are nice and golden brown on the back. They are nicely formed. They're not spread out. They have good sides to them. And look at this delicious cookie. Does it get any better than this? I think we need to try it, Mary. What do you think?
Sure. Take them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're still warm.
Mm. This is a good cookie. What do you think?
Really good.
All right. So we will include the recipe with this, and happy baking.